What's going on, YouTube? Wanted to go over the top 10 this week. Georgia's got a bye week, so unfortunately we won't get to watch the Dogs play, but we will get to we'll get some good games this weekend. So I'm gonna start off talking about number 1, Alabama versus Tennessee. I think we all know where this is going. Bama's gonna put it on Tennessee, much to the maybe satisfaction of some of the Tennessee fans, because the more games they lose, the more likely Butch Jones is gone. So we'll see what happens with Tennessee. I think Tennessee will try to put some points on the board. There were times when they played Georgia, they had the opportunity to put up, a field goal here and there, and they chose to try to go for it because they thought they had a chance at winning the game. I think there's just going to be simple moral victory here. They want to try and get some points on the board. So anytime they get in a situation where they can kick a field goal, which may happen a couple of times in the game, I think you're going to see them go for that field goal and try to put some points on the board. Number 2, Penn State. Penn State is playing Michigan this week. So Michigan's ranked number 19, but Penn State has Saquon Barkley. I think the gap between number 2 and number 19 is just too large. I don't think that Michigan's going to be able to overcome that Penn State offense. That Penn State offense is legit. So see Michigan, whose offense has been kind of stagnant, defense has been kind of stagnant. Yes, they've been winning games, but it hasn't been anything really spectacular. So, yeah, I mean, Saquon Barkley is probably going to come out there and shut that game down. If there's an opportunity for Michigan to shut down Saquon Barkley, it might be closer, but I still feel like Penn State's going to walk away with that game. So, look for that score to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 31-17. I'll back up real quick to the Alabama game. I think that game's probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 40-9. I think maybe Tennessee gets lucky somehow and gets a touchdown, but can't get the extra point. It's just the way Tennessee season's been going. So, number 3, Georgia obviously got a bye week. Kansas and TCU. While if you just look at the records, it doesn't really look like it really doesn't look like much of an opportunity for Kansas to do anything. But it doesn't look like TCU really has anything to worry about until you look at the numbers. Once you look at the numbers, you'll see that Kansas State actually has a pretty high-powered offense, and their defense is actually fairly good too. TCU, while they do have a good a good offense, there's been games where their defense was kind of questionable. So I'm actually going to go with Kansas and say that Kansas is going to pull off the upset here. Not Kansas State, Kansas, excuse me. Kansas is going to pull off the upset. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be 47-45, 47-44, somewhere in there. It's going to be a really close game, but I think Kansas is going to pull away with it. Number 5, Maryland versus Wisconsin. Wisconsin really, I don't think has anything to worry about in this game. I don't think they want to look past Maryland. Maryland showed some really good flashes of ability earlier in the season if a defense lets their guards down, especially the way they did against against Texas. They just kind of showed Texas right out of the gate. They were somebody to not not overlook. So I still think Wisconsin's going to walk away with this game. I think it's going to be 35-10, unless Wisconsin really drops this guard, and then it might end up being 17-35. Number 6, Ohio's got a bye week. Number 7, Clemson versus Georgia Tech. They also have a bye week. I think that'll be a great game. Not this week, next week. I think that'll be a game worth watching. Now the game I really want to talk about. Number 8, Miami versus Syracuse. This game has all the makings of being an excellent game. Syracuse, coming off of a win over Clemson, which nobody expected them to win, showed a lot of physicality, showed a lot of talent, a lot of speed, some good play calling, some good coaching here and there. And I think that they would really like to come out here and just knock off another top 10 team to try and tell everybody, hey, you got to respect us. We're that good. They had some earlier seasons kind of hiccups, but for the most part, the team's actually running really well. Miami's coach Mark Richt can't overlook the fact that this guy has a record of overlooking games and overlooking opponents. He nearly lost to Georgia Tech last week, with a game he shouldn't have even shouldn't even have been in the ballpark of thinking about losing. And don't talk to me about the triple option because it doesn't matter. If you're a top-ranked team and you're elite, you should be able to walk off with games regardless of what the defense is doing. Triple option been around since around, I don't know, medieval times, somewhere around there. So should figure out how to stop that by now. Mark Richt has played Georgia Tech every single year that he's been at Georgia because it's one of our guaranteed rivalry games that we get. But, you know, it's just one of those things where he should have had it figured out by now. I don't think Miami is going to take Syracuse seriously enough. Another Mark Richt factor. And I think that Syracuse is going to I think they're going to walk away with this game later in the game. I think it's going to be 35-24. I know they're upset, but not really that much of an upset if you know the track record of these teams. Let me look at number 9. Oklahoma and KSU. Or Kansas State, excuse me. Oklahoma, you know, Oklahoma, I was high on Oklahoma earlier in the year. I really thought Oklahoma had an opportunity to make a run at the college football playoff, and they're showing that they're a factor. They're showing they can. Kansas State, I don't really see them. I don't think their offense is strong enough. I don't think their defense is strong enough. Are they a good football team? Yeah, they're pretty good, but Oklahoma, the team is a lot stronger as far as football ability, really, than what the record shows. You step on the field with Oklahoma, I don't care if you're ranked in the top 5 or not. You're probably going to have your hands full. So I'm going to pick Oklahoma 34-14. Did Oklahoma, you know, kind of struggle a little bit with Texas last week? A little bit, but again, that's a rivalry game, and a lot of times those games can go either way. And then Texas has really kind of proved that they can hold their own. So I still think that game's going to be somewhere around 34-14. Number 10, we was just talking about them, Oklahoma State and Texas. Oklahoma State University, another team I was high on. I thought these teams would do very well throughout the season, and they've proven they can. Now they're playing Texas. Oklahoma State's got a good offense, but their defense is kind of questionable. Texas, which just played Oklahoma really tight, is greater than what their ranking stands. You know, they may be ranked whatever in the country, but realistically, you know, a lot of their games could have went either way, and the other team just happened to walk away with the win. So there's been a couple of times they've taken teams to overtime, double overtime. They push it right down to the wire. If Oklahoma State lets their guard down, Texas will win that game. There's no doubt. They're probably still upset about the Oklahoma game and how that game went, and they see, oh, well, we've got an opportunity. We're going to play a top 10 ranked team again this week. We're going to win this game. So there's a lot of motivation, a lot of drive from that team, and that Texas team, those Longhorns, they refuse to give up game after game after game. No matter how deep they get in the trenches, they just keep pushing. And I guarantee you, they're rebuilding that. They're rebuilding that team history there. This university has a lot of culture. That team's coming back. They got a coach in there who seems like he wants to rebuild that team. He wants to get it back to the true way it was back at University of Texas. And slowly but surely, he's getting there. We got a couple of Thursday night games. Memphis in the top 25. I don't know how in the world Memphis got in the top 25. I don't know if there's just that many bad teams. USF is somewhere in the top 25. I don't know how they got in there. But, I mean, there's some really good games. One of the games I want to jump back to, actually, I was only going to do the top 10, but I got to talk about this one because this is going to be a killer game. USC versus Notre Dame. USC ranked number 11 versus Notre Dame, which is ranked number 13, which you could probably argue that they probably deserve based off of ability to win. I mean, their only loss is a 1-point loss to Georgia at Notre Dame. That's a 1-point loss, and basically off of a miracle catch that we had in the end zone that could have been called either way. So I think that you should probably look at the fact Notre Dame's probably going to win that game. I think Notre Dame's going to go. I think it's going to be a 24-14, 24-17. They're not going to let USC score a lot of points. They haven't really let anybody score a lot of points all year. So I think if they get in there and Notre Dame runs up to 20, if Notre Dame scores more than 21 points, they win that game. I just don't believe that anybody is unless you're a top 5 team, or even probably the top 3, you're just not going to score a bunch of points on Notre Dame. It ain't going to happen. That defense is excellent. Wisham, whatever his name is, that kid can play. Georgia shut him down, and we still almost lost. So if he gets out in space, if he gets through, he breaks a couple tackles, and they get that offense rolling, it's over for USC. Y'all can come back next year and try again. Anyway, not going to get too far into it, not going to get too much into it, but the games I think that's going to be great to watch this weekend is going to be Notre Dame, USC, Penn State, Michigan, Syracuse, Miami, and probably the Texas-Oklahoma State game. Other than that, guys, that's really about it. Those are going to be the best games to me this season or this week. And you guys got my number. So after the games we played this week, we'll come back probably Sunday and we'll talk about how we did, talk about how my predictions were, and please feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Appreciate all you viewers that tune in. Take a few minutes to watch me rattle off a little bit. I'm just a guy with a YouTube account and a camera, so it is what it is. If you guys have any questions, feel free to throw them in the comment section. I'll respond to each one of them, and look forward to seeing you guys this weekend. Go Dogs.